Hey everybody, JJ here, BX4. It is Sunday, August 2nd, 2020. Appreciate you joining me for this episode. Bulls and Bears, we continue to document this economic collapse which is being propped up right now via unlimited stimulus and assistance programs. Now, a lot of things are unfolding. We're going to talk about just a few news stories that I saw here over the past 24 to 48 hours. Millions cannot pay their utility bills. So now, along with all of the other assistance and moratoriums and evictions that are being frozen, which a lot of those just ended. We talked about that just a few episodes ago. But now millions of people are unable to pay their monthly utility bills. And guess what? They have to have moratoriums put on their bills. All at the same time, energy costs are still rising. The U.S. gets a debt warning that should have happened 30 years ago. Nearly half of all job losses could be permanent, and we're not seeing any sign of any V-shaped recovery that was fabled a few months ago when these lockdowns were just getting started. All right, so pretty scary times. Let's get into the first report here. This is out of WCNC.com. 1.3 million delinquent accounts spared from utility disconnection across North Carolina. Now that's just one state. Can you imagine how many millions this is? And it's going to end up being across the entire United States. Are we going to be talking between 50 million, 100 million? Who knows? But also with all the evictions that are likely to start happening here in the next few months, and also unless something big is done, I think we're going to see a foreclosure crisis coming in the near future. I'd say within 6 to 12 months. People may not even have homes to pay utilities in, sadly. But this is just another thing added on top of all the other expenses that people are unable to handle at this point with this economic shutdown. Right, but on top of all this, there are energy companies still raising people's energy bills. And not just because people are using more. There are more people at home now, work at home positions, homeschooling of course, so people are going to have the air conditioning on more, they're going to use more electricity. But we're talking even cost per kilowatt hour. Energy companies are still trying to raise people's bills. Here's another report here out of Florida. Hundreds of thousands of Floridians are late paying their utility bills. And this is not just limited to households. This is also businesses. Lawmakers have to step in here. This is out of Fox61.com. Business owners worry about the next electric bill. And just a few months ago, before the shutdown, these businesses said this was not that hard to handle. But now with all of the new lockdown and all the new precautions that have to be put into place, in many cases these utility bills are driving these businesses over the edge. And we already know that sadly about half of the businesses that were shut down will not reopen. These are permanent closures for roughly half of businesses. And all of this is increasing this wealth transfer and the wealth gap that we see here in this country between the top tier and the bottom 90%. And in fact, if you look at Walmart and Target and the big corporate multinational corporate outlets there, the retail outlets, Amazon, you're seeing profits increase while many of the poor and the middle class get wiped out. Article here, a recent article out of NST.com. What pandemic? The world's wealthiest family gets $1 billion richer every 2 weeks. These are the Waltons, the owners of Walmart, and their wealth. Excerpt out of this article, the Waltons are richer than ever, adding $25 billion in the past year to take their combined fortune to an estimated $215 billion. The Waltons. Also, with all this stock market manipulation, with all this, even what the Fed calls unlimited stimulus to prop up these markets, we see the richest 1% own 50% of all the stocks. And the richest 10% own 84% of all the stocks. So you could see all the propping up of these markets, the stock markets in this case, is just further adding to this wealth divide. And yes, it is helping some people that have retirement accounts and 401ks, but not as much as it's helping these people at the very top, the top 10%. All right, this is an absolute looting that's happening right now, but everybody's blaming the pandemic and they're blaming the shutdown for all of this mess. Now, Wallet Hub put this article out. This was just a couple weeks ago actually, and this is the most and least expensive states for energy costs. And we go down here, we see the states in the darker shade are the more expensive areas. We look at total energy costs. We see Connecticut number 1, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire. In Connecticut, the average utility bill, when you factor in all the different utilities, it's $372 a month. Right? And that's just the average. Imagine someone with a bigger household, a 5 or 6 person family maybe. We could be talking $400 or $500 a month just in utilities. Now when it comes to just electricity costs, we sort by the highest to the lowest for that category. We see the most expensive state is Alabama, South Carolina, Connecticut, Mississippi, and then Hawaii, then Florida. Alright, so the question that most of us should be asking is, when are they going to stop propping up this economy? When are they going to stop all the assistance programs? Is it going to be free utilities forever? Is it going to be cancel rent forever? Is it going to be no one gets their home foreclosed on forever? Or is there going to be a reckoning day? Well, there's going to be a reckoning day. Now, timing this, nobody knows because, again, this is all manipulated. And we have to try to watch the string pullers and try to figure out what the intentions are behind all of this assistance right now. How long is this going to last? Now they're floating this myth out there again that there's a V-shaped recovery, so this is just temporary, right? It's temporary assistance. People will be able to pay their utilities, and people will be able to pay their rent again and pay their mortgages once the economy goes into this V-shaped recovery. Which is the V-shaped recovery going to happen? What if it doesn't happen? And it doesn't look like it's happening when you look at all of the news out here. Article here out of USA Today: almost half of all jobs lost during the pandemic may be gone permanently. So how do you have a V-shaped recovery when half of the jobs are going to be permanently gone? Okay, so I think it's very, very dangerous right now. A lot of people went out and bought homes. We know the home ownership rate had ticked up recently. We talked about that a few episodes ago. And a lot of that was people leaving the cities. A lot of renters that were paying $3,000, $4,000 a month to live in New York, for example, went out and bought a home and got a mortgage for less than they were paying for rent in New York. And that was one of the reasons why you saw a big surge in home ownership. We also have record low mortgage rates, but they've been lowering mortgage rates for 10 years. And we've never seen this big of an uptick in home ownership rate. So we know a lot of it is big city exodus into more rural America and the suburbs and the country. Fasten your seatbelts, folks, because this is about to get worse. I don't see really any signs, anything to make this direction into this debt collapse, this economic collapse. Nothing's going to stop it unless there's some sort of complete revamping of this economic system, this financial system, back to sound money. But even then, you're going to have to see massive deflation, and you're going to have to allow prices to correct for all of these goods and assets and services that we have to pay for. All right, let's wrap it up with this right here. U.S. gets a debt warning from Fitch as stimulus battle rages. One of the world's major credit rating agencies fired a warning shot regarding the world's worsening public finances on Friday, just as lawmakers in Washington contemplate spending more to combat economic fallout from the pandemic shutdown. Fitch Ratings revised its outlook on the country's credit score to negative from stable. Well, the country's credit score should have been negative a long time ago, right? This debt is insurmountable. It's never going to be paid off. And again, it's dangerous telling people that they're going to be seeing a V-shaped recovery, that we can actually get back to any sort of normalcy or get back to where we were before the shutdown. And let's go over to usdebtclock.org right here. And we know that the publicly stated debt here is $26.5 trillion approximately. But go down here, this is the total U.S. debt. This is over $80 trillion, and that doesn't even count unfunded liabilities. When you account unfunded liabilities into this, it's in the hundreds of trillions of dollars. But $80.5 trillion total U.S. debt when you factor in the government debt, household debt, business, state, and local government debt, financial institutions, all rolled in, it's never going to be paid off. It's absolutely impossible. But yet they're going to go tell people out there that they have to give up a bigger portion of their paycheck, and they're going to fool people into believing, yes, the people are going to have to pay for this, but it's impossible to pay. But most people, again, they don't understand, they don't know. Most of you know. We're watching this collapse happen, and everything's being blamed on the shutdown. But you and I, we're going to tell people. I encourage you to not just share my videos, but tell people yourself, the friends, the family that you hang out with. Talk to people. I talk to people at the grocery store, at the checkout line. Within 30 seconds, I'm talking about the Fed, fiat money, all during the time when I'm gathering my groceries and putting them in the bag. Sometimes people look at me kind of crazy, but other times, when you actually engage people in these types of conversations, they understand. They totally get it when you explain just a little bit of the basics to them. So thanks everybody for watching. Appreciate your support, and we hope to see you back here on this channel for more economic financial news. Ride the bull, prepare for the bear. Bye for now.